Hi, Todd. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. Um, let's start with a quick intro to kick things off. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and also your carnivore journey and tell me how it all began?
Sure. So I'm 38 years old. I live in Australia, and in 2023, I first heard about carnivore through Jordan Peterson. There was a short clip of him talking on Joe Rogan about his diet, and it just sounded crazy to me at the time. He was just eating pretty much steak, red meat, salt, and water, which is now I learned is called the Lion diet. And he was talking about eating this way, it cured his arthritis, his depression, his gum disease. And I thought, that's amazing, but maybe that's a bit crazy. I'm not think I'm ready to try that. I didn't know anything about nutrition at that time. I didn't understand how nutrient dense red meat is. So you've got magnesium, zinc, iron, B12, all these components that are really essential. And at that time, the conventional wisdom was, you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, calorie surplus to build muscle. So I just had my first child. I put on a little bit of weight. I thought, okay, I need to lose weight to get healthy. So I figured I'll cut out fat because there's 9 calories in a gram of fat. Protein and carbs only have 4 grams. So I figured, okay, that will give me more volume on my plate. It'll make it easy to stay in a deficit. And you can do that for a short time. You can't be in a calorie deficit forever. It's really, really unhealthy to do it for a long period of time. So I was pretty much eating chicken breasts, egg whites, oats, Greek yogurt, fruits, vegetables. It was pretty bland, pretty depressing kind of diet looking back on it. And I started working with a personal trainer about 18 months ago, and we were talking about nutrition, and he asked, what's your diet like? And I've sort of explained, what I was doing, like a bodybuilder diet. I assumed that was the healthiest diet, that balanced, intake of different, fruits and vegetables. And he said, do you eat any red meat? And I said, no. So growing up, we didn't eat red meat in our house. Mum was the only person that cooked, and she just can't stand the sight of red meat. She just hates it. So we never ate red meat. I assumed red meat was bad for you because we've been conditioned, we've been told over and over again, red meat causes cancer, red meat causes diabetes, you shouldn't eat whole eggs. If you do, have maybe 2 or 3 a week at the most because it's too high in cholesterol, it's bad for you. And I've since learned that's not true. So we're talking about nutrition, and my coach said, okay, maybe get some blood work done. You might be deficient, in magnesium, zinc, B12, these things that are really important for your testosterone as well. So if you're trying to build muscle, lose body fat, you need to optimize your testosterone. It's something I've learned recently. So we're talking about that, and I tried steak for the first time in January, and it was like, oh my God, that's so good. It was almost like my body just started to relax. It just felt incredible. It felt like an energy boost, like a power up. It just gives you so much more energy eating red meat. My mood started to improve as well. And I thought, okay, my body's trying to tell me something. It's saying you need more of this. So I started looking into eating more red meat, eating whole eggs, fatty fish a couple times a week, butter, bacon, so like the Canberry, the proper human diet, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. And I've been doing that since about January this year. And I feel like a completely different person. I feel like I'm sleeping better. I've stopped snoring. I don't have aches and pains when I wake up in the morning. I have so much more energy. My strength is going naturally in the gym. My recovery from gym sessions is a lot better. I can train 3 days a week, whereas on my old way of eating, I can only train 2 days a week because it's just so sore all the time. It's been incredible. We should have found out about carnivore a lot sooner.
That is awesome. Um, I can relate with all the experiences you have regarding the boost of energy and also the what do you call this, the in the especially in the gym, because I go to CrossFit and I also exercise a lot and like I play tennis. But yeah, that is awesome. um So I also listened to some of your conversation with Dave Mack from the No Carb Life channel. So I learned pretty much a lot about you also, just by listening. So I wanted to know, looking back at your carnivore journey, was there any mistake you made like in the past, like when you started, and then like how did you learn from it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've made a lot of mistakes. I figured my trainer actually encouraged me to have some carbs before a workout. So I tried doing that, like having honey and fruit, but I'm the type of person, I don't know how to moderate carbs and sugar. So, if I have a little bit of chocolate, I'll just want to destroy the whole block. Then I'll look for another block. Then I'll look for some donuts or something else, ultra processed. So for me, I feel my best when I don't have any carbs. Um, and I think don't be afraid of fat. Fat becomes your new energy source on carnivore. We've all been conditioned that fat is bad, carbs are good. It's actually the other way around. So fat's really essential for your hormone production. It's essential for your recovery. Like I was getting injured all the time when I didn't have any fat in my diet. So incredibly sore, getting injured. And if you're injured, you can't train, you can't build muscle. So it's not even worth doing it really. Um, don't be afraid of fat. And I was having a lot of leaner cuts of like beef mince, like leaner steaks, because I was doing that calorie deficit kind of mindset. I was tracking everything. It's not necessary. Just throw the calorie tracking app away. Like just delete it off your phone. You don't need it. So don't be afraid of fat. Like use lots of butter for your cooking. Go for fatty red meat. That's essentially what a carnivore diet, like the foundation should be. Fatty red meat. Eat until you feel full. So if you come from like a long history of dieting, you've tried all the diets, you kind of taught just eat, to your 80% full, don't eat too much. You have this kind of restriction mindset, just forget all that, throw it away. Eat till you're full. If you need to eat 2 times a day or 1 time a day, 3 times, it doesn't matter. Eat till you're full. Otherwise you can have cravings and you won't be able to stick to it. So go for high fat bits, fatty steaks if you like steaks. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally agree. Um, Before going carnivore, what was your favorite food?
Probably carbonara. That was kind of like my treat, cheat meal carbonara. But looking back, I realized my body was just craving fat because I was restricting fat so much. So carbonara, obviously, you got whole eggs, getting fats from the oil, fats from the bacon, because otherwise we're taught you can't eat bacon, that's bad for you. Don't eat whole eggs, that's bad for you. So that was like my once a week kind of treat, yeah. But looking back, yeah, I don't crave that anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like carbonara too. um, with carnivore, have you ever had a moment of like doubt, like maybe how would you describe it? Like maybe a crisis of faith, like with carnivore, while on your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really hard at the start because it's a new diet, and if like you've come from like a long history of dieting, like I've tried all the diets. I've done plant based, I've done keto, I've done low carb, high carb, carb cycling, carb backloading, like all the different diets. And it's kind of like people think, oh, this guy's doing another diet. He's a crazy diet guy. And I think you just need to have faith in yourself and do some research, listen to podcasts, listen to people like Sean Baker, listen to Carnivore Cam, listen to Dr. Anthony Chafee, because that reinforces what you're doing, and that reinforces in my mind, yes, I'm on the right track. You need to prioritize your health and don't worry so much about the weight loss. The weight loss will come in time, but if you've been eating like a standard Western diet, standard Australian diet all your life, that you think about how much damage that's caused in your body. Maybe your body needs a bit of time to heal. Maybe it needs time to repair the damage that you've done. And I think just believe in yourself, believe you can do it. People are going to criticize you. They're going to say all sorts of silly stuff to you, like, oh, you're going to have high cholesterol, you're going to have a heart attack. But now it's like I just kind of smile and nod because I know I'm on the right track. I know I'm prioritizing my health and becoming a better version of myself.
was there ever a moment when you like almost gave up? Like, I think it's pretty much kind of like also in the beginning, like you almost gave up. Like, what made you kept going, or was it pretty easy, like switching?
It definitely wasn't easy. It definitely came with some challenges. Sorry, this is too much information, but I had loose stools for the first 2 weeks starting carnivore, and from the research that I've done, your digestion, your gut microbiome, it's going to go through a lot of changes because you're basically starving those bacteria that are craving sugar, they're craving carbohydrates, and I think that's part of where these sugar cravings come from. Like, there's a big difference between addiction and taste. So your perception of taste, addiction hijacks that. So if you're craving sugar all the time and carbohydrates, that's a sign maybe you're addicted to these things. So it's going to be really hard to cut it out. So I was inspired by, there's a movie called Clean and Sober. Don't know if you've seen that. It's a Michael Keaton movie. This guy goes through this it's awesome. It's really good. I highly recommend it. This guy's addicted to alcohol and drugs, and he has to go through that 30-day program. And basically, you have to acknowledge, the first step is like acknowledging you have a problem, and then you just cut that stuff out of your life. If there's certain people that are encouraging you to eat carbs and sugar, maybe you try to avoid them. Don't go to bars. If you have a problem with alcohol, just stay clear of it. Maybe get a hobby, maybe do some reading, like do something to take your mind off that. I think cutting that stuff out is really important. After day 12, day 14, I noticed my sugar cravings had gone. You really need to just hang in there, drink lots of water, get some high quality salt. That'll minimize the cravings. But if you can do it for 12, 14 days, strict carnivore, so beef, butter, bacon, eggs, you should be fine after that. That first 12 days for me, that was the hardest. Once I got past that, it becomes a lot easier.
Can you walk me through like what you usually eat? Like, do you stick with the same foods maybe each day, or do you like mix it up during the week? Or I don't know if it's more like conventional like thing, you try like within the carnivore framework.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely had more variety when I started. So it was very like beef, butter, bacon, eggs, chicken, fish. Over time, I lost the cravings for chicken. I just lost taste of it. Well, this tastes a bit funny to me. Same with pork mince. I don't really enjoy pork mince anymore. To me, it tastes a bit strange. So I just cut those things out. It's pretty much one, sometimes 2 meals a day, depending on how busy things are. It's pretty much beef, butter, bacon, eggs, fatty fish a couple times a week just to get the omega-3s in. But yeah, that's pretty much what I stick to. If I do a longer fast, I'll have some bone broth, just kind of, keep the cravings at bay. Yeah.
What's the hardest thing? Like, I guess this is more in the emotional side aspect. Like, what's the hardest thing about being carnivore? Like for me, as an example, would be the social gatherings, like the travel, and especially the cravings in the beginning stage. I crave a lot of fried chicken, but that eventually went away. So like, yeah, I guess the hardest thing for you, like, challenge.
Yeah, it's definitely social situations. They can be tough. They can be confronting because everyone around you thinks you're crazy. And I think after a while, you just accept that. It's like, yeah, I'm the crazy one. I'm thinking about my health. That's okay. I think you don't realize over time, everyone's addicted to something, like whether that's alcohol or coffee or sugar or carbohydrates. I had dinner with a lunch with like parents and friends a few weeks ago, and they're eating like pizza and pasta. They said, well, why aren't you eating this? I said, well, I just said, I don't really feel like that. I just had a steak. Had to quietly ask the waiter, can I just have a steak with butter on it, please? No oil. And they thought I was crazy, but that's okay. You've got to prioritize yourself. You've got to think for yourself. Don't worry about other people. If it makes them feel better, put some vegetables on your plate. You don't have to eat them. Might make people feel more comfortable if it looks like you're eating what they're eating. Humans are naturally tribal creatures. We like to have that group dynamic. If you're not in that group, in the hunter-gatherer time, you wouldn't have survived. So I think having that dynamic. That's just part of our, you know, how we're kind of wired. And I think people that are not following the group, they see that as a threat maybe, or it makes them feel uncomfortable. So if it makes them feel better, just put some vegetables on your plate. You don't have to eat them. You kind of, you know, move them around, pretend you're eating them. But like, you're doing this for yourself. Do it for your own health.
Nice. Um, so like with eating mostly meat or only meat, like how has this like process like changed the way you think about food?
I think before I was looking at food as it's more like an entertainment or a novelty kind of thing, because if you're eating mostly carbs and protein, you're going to be hungry. And I was eating 6 meals a day, sometimes 7, like you're having like 3 or 4 meals plus snacks in between, because you're taught, you know, you need multiple protein feedings a day in order to build muscle. I've learned that's not true, because I've built way more strength and muscle having 1 meal a day. So this meal frequency idea, I think that's a marketing scheme. So essentially, eating meat and eggs, I just feel so much better. And you learn on carnivore to really listen to your body, trust your body. If your body's telling you you need 3 meals, do that. If it's telling you need 1 meal, then do that. Eat when you're hungry, eat until you're full. If you're not hungry, you don't need to eat. You're probably just bored. And I think with social media and YouTube, looking at people doing these cheat days and 10,000 calorie challenges, like it's purely for entertainment. It's not about health. It's not about nutrition. It's, you know, if you look at the definition of food, it's a nutritious substance that supports or maintains life. So if you think of it that way, these ultra processed foods, they're not actually food. It's like entertainment. Like, and it's really hard, because you walk into the supermarket and at eye level you walk in, it's, you know, Krispy Kreme donuts, it's Oreos, it's chocolate, like it's really, really difficult. So we're constantly bombarded by this advertising for ultra processed foods. And I think if you think about that definition of food, that is not food. That's just, it's a system of control. It's trying to get you addicted, keep you under control, keep spending your money on these foods. But the best thing you can do is just stay away from them. Don't buy them. It's just boosting sales for these companies, and it's ridiculous. You need to think about beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and just stay the path.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, steak, butter, and egg. I That's what I eat every morning now. I switched to that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Um, how has being carnivore changed the way you see yourself, or I think it's kind of similar to the previous question, but like how you approach life now in general, especially like dealing with other community and your, I don't know, maybe your neighbor or your family, like all together.
Sure. Yeah. My wife and my son probably think I'm crazy, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. And it's funny, the more people I talk to, the more interviews I have with people, you learn that you're not alone, and you learn that, yes, I am on the right track. I value my health now a lot more. Before it was all about how quickly can I lose weight so I can be shredded, so I can, do that. And then it's kind of like, it's not a sustainable goal to have forever. You need to kind of think, long term, what do I value? Do I value my health, or do I value being a certain weight on the scale? And the thing about when you're on carnivore is you're going to put on muscle and you're going to drop body fat at the same time. So what might happen is your weight on the scale might be stable, but you're actually getting leaner and you're building muscle. So the weight won't fluctuate as kind of rapidly as people are hoping. And I think you need to be kind to yourself, value your health, and think, what improvements am I making? Maybe I'm sleeping a little bit better. Maybe I've got better focus. Maybe I can get study done and not be so distracted. Maybe I'm not procrastinating as much. Maybe my aches and pains have gone. And you've got to kind of, maybe just in journaling, maybe write down all the positives, but kind of, to keep yourself on track. And I think to myself, I'm becoming a better version of myself. I don't want to go back to the old version of myself that was, constantly tired, irritable, staying up late, eating bad food. And it's creates this perpetual cycle of, you know, eating bad food and just feeling miserable. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah. Um, just like guess another reflection. Really curious to ask, like, looking back, like your before and after, before the carnivore lifestyle. How do you feel like on a personal level, like on a deeper aspect?
Honestly, I think I feel a lot calmer, and I don't have any issues with depression or anxiety anymore. I've been battling that on and off most of my life, probably since, you know, teenage years. I was always a little bit shy, a little bit introverted, and I was an easy target for bullies when I was in school. And I think in spite of that, you've got to be okay with being your own person. You know, it's okay to be different. It's okay to do your own thing. You don't have to follow, you know, these certain groups in school. Like, there are these kids that are really into sport or football, we call it here. You don't have to be in that group if you don't want to. You know, you don't have to be in that group if you don't like, you know, what those people are offering you. And I think if you have friends and they're truly, really your friends, they'll respect what you're doing. They'll be okay with that. I think I'm more comfortable in my own skin being on carnivore. I'm okay with being different. You just got to embrace it. And if you feel good, you're calmer, you don't have these issues anymore, you don't have mental health problems, you know, I think that's more important than weight loss to me. Like, I value that a lot more.
Nice. Um, how does your kids and your wife feels about it? I think you mentioned already that some of the people that like think you're crazy. Right? So, how does your
Yeah,
wife and like kid do they like imitate you? Like, I'm gonna eat meat today, like dad.
it was funny because my wife got back from Japan in January this year with my son. They're visiting some family, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm eating red meat now." And my wife thought I'd lost the plot. She thought I was crazy. She's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yep." So I was bringing out my one meal on a big wooden board. It was like, you know, 4 beef burgers and bacon and eggs and fatty fish. It was like my one meal. I was really excited about it, and she was like looking at me like, "What? Who are you? You know, what's happened to you?" And she said, "Oh, you can have any vegetables?" I said, "No, I don't really like vegetables." She's like, "Okay, that's weird." Um, so I think you just need to have a sense of humor about it. In a way, you just need to think, yeah, you know, like if I felt better eating chocolate and donuts, I would do that. But the reality is, I feel terrible when I eat those foods. So you've got to kind of look at it. You know, I feel good eating these foods. My body's telling me these are the type of foods you should be eating. Like, people are going to criticize you no matter what. That's just part of life. You know, you just need to believe in yourself and just keep moving forward.
Yeah. Um, so with the carnivore movement, like I feel like it's thriving right now. How do you see this movement, like maybe in the next 5 to maybe 10 years? I mean, me personally, I see it like both negative and positive side. Like with the negative being like, yeah, maybe there's going to be censorship, when it comes to this lifestyle, and then maybe on the good side, there's going to be more people, joining the community, like because we're doing a lot of content regarding this. So, yeah,
Mm. Yeah, it's definitely growing. Like, if you follow Dave Mack, like he's interviewed, I think like 1,400 people, like all talking about how it's changed their lives. Like, we're not going to keep quiet about it. I think the more we talk about it, the better. I'm I'm highly doubtful nutritionists and the government guidelines are going to change overnight. I know RF Kennedy Jr. is doing some amazing work in trying to like get the food pyramid updated, and he's just really fighting the good fight. Like, people like him, you know, that's going to become more of a thing. He won't be the only one. I think there are more people on board, you know, ready for a change, ready to embrace a different way of eating. Um, you know, and these processed food companies, they're trying to sort of find ways to hang in there and keep pushing their products, but changing the red dye 40 and Fruit Loops, like, that's not going to make a big difference. I feel it's like the problem isn't red dye number 40. It's the problem is you're eating Fruit Loops. So I think the more that we talk about it, people are going to consume less ultra processed foods. I mean, I don't expect everyone to be carnivore, you know, immediately, like maybe even just reducing your sugar intake, reducing refined carbohydrates, because we know those things are bad for us, right? But people can't stop eating them. So it's best just to stay away from them, I feel. I think, yeah, it's going to catch on. Like 5 years ago, keto diets, like everyone thought that's crazy, that's dangerous. And I feel like carnivore is similar in that way. It's a little bit rebellious. People think it's dangerous, but once you try it, you just don't want to go back to your old ways of eating because you just feel so good.
Yeah. Did you have like trouble like when sharing the carnivore lifestyle to people like me personally like have trouble like finding the right words like when somebody just bluntly asks me like, so what does your diet consist of? And then I have so many thoughts in my mind, but
Mm.
I'm trying to come up with the best words and always get interrupted. So
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like as I said, you need to learn to have a sense of humor. Some people aren't ready to hear you just eating beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Like they just assume that's really bad for you. I think you need to make a joke about it. It's like, I haven't gotten scurvy yet. I haven't died. I'm still alive. I'm thriving. Um, people think you're crazy, but that's okay. Just got to go with it. Like I would just phrase it. I'm not eating sugar or carbohydrates. I'm just basing my food around, whole foods, single ingredient foods. Yeah, I think you need to have a sense of humor. I think that's the best way to do it. And I found that just not making a big deal about it, that seems to be a better strategy. I think if you go around telling people, hey, you should do this crazy diet, they're not going to want to hear it.
so if you had to describe the impact of this lifestyle on your life in one word, what would it be? And maybe just a little explanation. Yeah.
It's life changing. And maybe that's two words, but I can't think of a better way to describe it apart from life changing, because I feel like I'm a totally different person, and I really don't want to go back to the old, passive, introverted, shy person that I used to be, and the kind of person that never got anything done, easily distracted, giving into cravings all the time and thinking I'll start the diet on Monday, I'll get back on track on Monday. And it gets to Saturday, it's like, I've had a tough day, I'm going to have some chocolate, I'm going to have some ice cream. And it's like, you repeat this cycle over and over again. You tell yourself, this is the last time I'm going to go off my diet. And it becomes a regular habit. I think you just need to stop doing that to yourself. Like, I would say if people are interested, do some research, like maybe try it for 30 days and just see how good you feel. Even if you tried it just for 3 days and you go back to your old way of eating, you're going to feel bloated, you're going to feel terrible. And I think getting that feedback from your body straight away, like that will reinforce this is the right way to eat for you.
Yeah. Um, so if you could give one piece of advice to like someone who is just maybe starting, you know, what would it be? Like, I know a lot of people like us, right, who's in this lifestyle. Like, we have a lot of friends who are not carnivore.
Yeah,
So just like another challenge, part of it. What would
sure.
you tell them?
I would say do some research, like read the books by Dr. Ken Berry, get Sean Baker's book, and get on social media and follow people that are doing carnivore, and that will kind of reinforce, you're on the right track. You're not alone. There are other people doing this as well. Like I'm not perfect. I have struggles, but you just got to prioritize your health and just believe that you're on the right track. Listen to podcasts, people doing amazing things by cutting out carbohydrates and sugar, and people reversing diabetes, people putting arthritis into remission, people that are beating cancer by eating this way. Like it's not an isolated incident. Like I think everyone's kind of struggling, but I think changing the way you're eating, get on YouTube, listen to podcasting, that's the best way to do it. And just keep going, just count down the days if that helps. So if you can get to 30 days, that's a huge achievement. If you can get to 60 days, 90 days, it gets easier just to keep going.
Nice. Um, if people want to reach out or follow you, where's the best place to connect with you?
Sure. So you can follow me on Instagram or YouTube. It's just at Todd Fitness. I've interviewed about 15 people that have gone through the carnivore journey, and that also helps me, to keep being inspired and keep staying on the track. Yeah, it's been awesome. I feel incredibly lucky to meet so many people and help share their story. It's been awesome.
Todd, thank you so much for joining me again today. I really enjoyed hearing your story and learning about your carnivore journey.
Thank you. No problem.